Be it right now. Y'all
All
got
right.
me all day long.
Well, I'm gonna start off with an introduction. We're here in Dallas, Texas, at the African American Museum, and today is April 12th.
Yes, sir.
So it's a historical moment because we have a legend here. If you guys don't know, one of the founders of Public Enemy and an artist in his own right, and we're in the museum space of one of his former art teachers, Mr. Frank Frazier.
The real legend.
Yeah.
Yeah, the real legend.
And so it's a monumental moment, and I'm proud to be here to interview Mr. Chuck D. So, Mr. Chuck D, if you can first give a quick introduction for those who have been hiding under a rock and don't know who you are. Can you tell the people who you are?
Well, we have a group called Public Enemy, which is a rock and roll Hall of Fame group, goes all over the world, and kind of like the pioneers in the golden era of rap.
Right.
So we have 50 years of hip hop and rap music, 50 years as a culture. And so, you know, I mean, and every 5 years is a generation.
Right.
So we have 10 generations in hip hop and rap music, and I think we cover a good 2 or 3.
Wow, yeah. So what are the years of the golden era of rap?
Golden
70s,
era-
80s, what's
Golden
the...
era of rap, they say, is like 86 to about 92.
Right.
A 6-year period. But I mean, every era is a golden era based on when it hits you. So art, one thing we learned, and I learned from Frank Frazier a long time ago, he's my first art teacher in
Right.
Roosevelt, Long Island, where we all from. Public Enemies from Roosevelt,
Yeah.
Eddie Murphy, Julius Erving. These were significant cultural and sports figures in the 80s and 90s, and we come from that. We use the
Right.
music side of all of that.
That's right.
And Frank was the art teacher. My mom's had the Roosevelt Community Theater. So we
Yeah.
had theater in the arts just like it was, you know, making and shaking and baking down here. So, you know,
Yeah.
long story short, we come up out of that. So
Yeah.
we hit hip hop and music with the same amount of respect for the arts. And one thing we learned is the art is subjective. It's based on taste. It ain't based on better than that or better than who or whatever. Art is inside you. You know what I'm saying? Art is short for artificial. It's not real life, but it's a reflection of what you see in life.
Right.
You know, and
That's deep.
and you know, the thing about art is like in culture, it brings human beings together for our similarities and knocks the differences to the side.
Yeah.
So it's the ultimate expression, you know.
Exactly.
Now, to me, it's like a worldwide cultural religious experience.
Right.
So
Art.
if I want to zone out, I elevate into another realm, you know.
Yeah.
I keep within me a place that I can go to, and so I don't get stressed out. I don't need drugs or drink. All I have to do is art, and you know, and I make sure my art is the art of noise.
Yeah. So what years were you the student to Frank Frazier, and what are some things you learned from his art classes? If you can think back that far.
I did a piece for Frank today that they'll probably make Prince and Miss Judy. They know how to doll things up, but
Right.
I entered Frank Frazier's art studio 1973. I was 13. I aspired to be an artist, but in Frank's, you know, in his, I remember my first days there, Frank was like, yeah, before you think you're gonna paint and draw something, man, learn how to put together these frames. I see today
Yeah.
you could go down to Michael's, which will
Right.
rip you off. Really, the place to get canvas is Five Below.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
For the low, for the for the artists who don't know, you just gotta
you want to go
jam.
to Five Below. Michael's is expensive with paints and all that stuff, and now they've been forced to come down. But back in the day, you had to make your own canvas.
Wow.
You had to stretch your canvas. You had to put the wood together,
Yeah.
stretch it, staple it. So that was my first
Yeah.
thing going to France. So I'm like, man, we didn't get to draw, paint, and stuff like that. I said, no, you got to learn the aspects which allow you to use the world as a canvas. Learn that first. You know,
That's
learn
deep.
what abstract is versus real. He said, you know, you don't come in here trying to be a camera.
Right.
And back then, cameras were less frequent than now. Everybody got a camera now.
Yeah.
But back in the day, you know, it's like, no, you know, you capture it, that's your signature.
Yeah.
And believe in your signature and stay with it. until you feel that you want to move off your signature. But don't let somebody influence you on how to capture something from their perspective, capture it from your perspective. And so, you know, you 13, 14 years old, you want to just draw, you know?
Right. So were you already making raps or poetry when you was 13, 14
No,
then?
I was so good in the arts program. In my high school, I saw it through. Every year I won the art contest. It was like I was gonna be a commercial artist. I was full of myself.
Yeah.
I knew as an artist I could do this, that, and the other. I went to Delphi University, excelled in the arts program. I'm a legend there. You know what I'm saying? And I knew I was gonna go into some kind of commercial art. I didn't know what.
Right.
But then hip hop came along, and I said, well, damn, I could work at record companies and work in the art department, and that lit a bell. I said, I could do that, because the thing about it is, like, everybody got art in them. The biggest question is how you get art out of them.
Yeah.
You know, we get art outside of ours. We could get outside of ourselves.
Yeah.
A lot of people, they can't get outside of themselves. They got to go to a corner. They got to look for entertainment. Something always got to be popping that they got to either buy or engage themselves in. And if I sit you in a corner over there, in a day you're gonna come out with a whole bunch of shit. You know what I'm saying?
That's real.
So, and that's gonna bring envy and jealousy.
Yeah.
Because people trying to fill their time and you creating your time.
Yep. That's the sense of having the essence of being a god or things in that nature.
I don't go that deep. We could go that deep, but then that'll be we'd be here all day talking about something else. I try to keep it basic.
Right.
And if you got art in you and you have instructors to basically get art out of you, then you know you have the essence of what it is to be the epitome of a human being at the highest level.
Yeah.
So would you say that you are your inspiration for art? Is that what you...
Well, I would tell people in music and art all the time. I mean, if you feel that you got to get high, and a lot of this happens in music too, when people feel that they got to get high to get loose.
Right.
If you feel that you got to get high, then you're getting double high, because when you do your art right and really believe in it, nobody can match that high. As a matter of fact, anything that comes after that is like a second high. It's like, all right, you know, I'm getting double high. But when you really are like zoned up into your thing, there's no other higher level. And if you can't get high enough, that means you got to keep going deeper into yourself.
Yeah. So I'd love to hear how you, or when did you start merging art with purpose? You know, I know you guys started the Public Enemy group.
You mean music with purpose? I mean, I didn't write a poem till I was 20.
Right.
Because I would win the art contest hands down. They knew whatever in schools, they were like, okay, we know he gonna get it. Let's talk about second and third, right?
Yeah.
And then, you know, that would happen every year. You know, whether I have to do a realism or whether I go abstract and all that. I was trained to be that and encouraged from zero.
Yeah.
Then they got the poetry contest.
Yeah.
I'm like, why am I gonna take the poetry contest? I'm already gonna win the art contest. So I never wrote a poem until I was 20 years old.
Right.
And then rap came along and I started like, I'm always listening to music. I like music. I just never gonna, in hip hop, it was just a thing of technology, 2 turntables, electronic aspect of it.
Yeah.
And then my voice too. Because back then it's like you had to have a voice that
projects.
Yeah, it wasn't one of those. And my mom's had the Roosevelt Community Theater.
Yeah.
So fam, good to see you, man. So my mom's had the theater, so we had to, you had to learn how to project, but I was already gifted with that. But I didn't, I never knew I was gonna do records and music like that. That's music, but there's still the same side of your brain of creating something out of nothing. Not to say nothing is nothing, but creating something out of the space.
So for those who don't know, why did y'all come up with Public Enemy? Or what did Public Enemy mean? And why did y'all feel the need to form the group and name it that?
Well, we come from a different time. I'm born in 1960, so black was not only just beautiful at the end of the 60s, but we witnessed everything. We witnessed Vietnam. We witnessed the Black Panthers coming in and also being destroyed by COINTELPRO. We witnessed, Dr. King. I remember when Dr. King was alive, and on the radio and whatnot. And we remember. So it's so much that we remembered as shorties By the time I caught up with this man right here, I'm 13. I mean, he knows my parents. My parents were independent thinkers, and yeah, cool to be an artist. You know, a lot of people wasn't like that. It's like, okay, you gotta be this, you gotta be that. But
Yeah.
you know, my mom started the community theater. He started the arts program, you know, in Roosevelt. It's one square black town,
Yeah.
and gave somebody something to do.
One square back.
Yeah.
One square black town. Gave us something to do.
Yeah.
And not only about giving you something to do, but to give somebody else something to do. Eddie Murphy comes up in that, you know. So I mean,
Right.
you know, I mean, so you know what made us, you know, do the things to music. It was a no-brainer. When you writing a song, you need the topic. You can't say the same damn thing all the time. With the, I mean,
Yeah.
you got to make songs be diverse, man, and that stands the test of time. And you don't necessarily have to make songs that actually, you
Yeah.
know, make people happy. There's a bunch of different
Didn't you
things.
give one of the rappers his name?
Huh?
Didn't you name one of the rappers his name?
I don't know. He might know Busta Rhymes, or may not.
Right.
Know.
Busta Rhymes. Wow, that's a history I didn't know.
Yeah. I mean, but you
Busta
know,
Rhymes.
they were young guys, you know, so they needed names. What we do, we used to train, you know, rappers like, well,
Yeah.
that name ain't gonna work for you. Use this name. All right, you want to rhyme, you want to spit, go run around the track and spit at the same time. I'll take them roller skating and tell them to skate backwards and spit. You ever see that? You ever see anybody do that?
No, I ain't seen
I
that.
could
That's
do
before
it.
my time.
I could do it at my age right now. Skate backwards and rhyme.
Wow.
But you know, we used to train people like
That's like patting your head and rubbing your belly. You
Another
know,
question.
multitask.
A lot of folks don't know you're a visual artist too.
yeah, I
Yeah.
learned from you.
Right. Well, that's when you went to that white school.
Adelphi.
Adelphi.
It's a university, Frank.
Okay.
So Frank, I got a question for you,
We got
Frank.
hey, we got universities too.
Right.
So Frank, you was his art teacher after the Vietnam War, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was after the war. So what got you after you came back home? What inspired you to become a teacher, and how did you guys
Well,
connect?
when I came home from Vietnam, I had to get a job. So I was lucky I got a job with H.J. Hines, catcher. And I wanted to do my art. And then I got a job with the Nestle company. And then one day I said, man, why I gotta work for these white people all the time? So they made me artist in residence. I ain't finished high school or nothing. So I said, what I gotta do is artist in residence. They said, you're gonna work in the school, and back then they paid me $75 an hour. That was a lot of money.
Yeah.
So I went to work in Roosevelt, and one day I said, I'm gonna get tired of this shit too.
Yeah.
You know, you had to be there, and then y'all started a rumor about me and the lady that wrote the check for me.
What do you mean y'all started rumor?
The kids.
I'm 12 years, 13 years old. What am I? Why I'm caught up
That
in
was-
scandal?
Right.
What it was,
Young kids.
When I was working for the program, I had to go get, she was the dean of girls. You know who she is, she's fine.
Well, anybody that was fine was gonna get talked to in the 70s.
Right.
Come on, man.
So I had to go
In the DNA.
every day. I had to go give my schedule to her. So the student, you know, my wife was working in the cafeteria, and the students started saying that I was messing with the woman, and I wasn't. And then my
I
wife
had nothing to
heard
do with
that.
that. I had nothing to do with that.
You was one of the students.
I was 13 years old. I wasn't like the
13.
18-year-old, 15 and 17-year-old
And
student.
what you,
Yeah.
I was in the school too, and that's how I felt. They come to your dad.
Interesting.
you probably don't remember the piece of work we did. I do. We did a piece called, it was made out of cement and wood. The Gathering. And that was my first sculpture, so thank you.
Thank you.
What elementary school did you go to?
I went to Queens. We moved there in '69.
Oh, so you didn't go to the little round school?
But my mom had a job over there. That's around the corner. Harry D. Dan. You went to
I
Harry D.
like that school.
Yeah. It's, you know, it's still standing there.
That's what I heard, the little round school.
I mean, it's depleted. Ain't nothing been in there like in 20 years.
I used to,
mold.
I did classes then. I got in trouble with the parents because we were doing a mural on another wall. And I made a swing.
Down at Harry D. Daniels.
Right, I made a swing. And the kids would swing and put a thing of paint with the parents. Then what was the Catholic school?
Holy Rosary.
And
Queen
then they
of
got
Holy
mad
Rosary.
there because I took the high school kids over there. We did a mural on the fence. But the parents, they say, you make us think we still in Brooklyn. Because, I mean, at that point,
The graffiti.
yeah, at that point, they ain't want no graffiti shit on no fences and all. And that's when I got in trouble. And they got me out of there.
Wow.
It was all.
Did you ever think that you would be teaching or training up and coming celebrities or up and coming artists, you know, or were you just?
I treated them all the same.
Yeah, we ain't no
I treated
celebrities.
them all the same.
Yeah.
Dude, give my number out to anybody.
Yeah. Call this
Right.
number.
Yeah, Frank gave me your number, Mr. Chuck D, and yeah, tell him get somebody else's number too. All right, Frank.
That's
I've been blessed,
interesting.
and thank you.
I don't make art for other people.
Right.
And people are like, oh man, but everybody, I'm like, well, you know, my job is in performance.
Yeah.
And I got to give everybody what they want.
you get it
Right.
But to make what I want to make, I don't make records so this person can be happy, or that can go over there, or they gonna make money over there. I only do art for me.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Now, performance, you got to please the crowd that came to
Yeah.
pay to see you
Right.
do your art.
Right.
It'd be different if like I'm up there and I'm doing Eric B. Rakim or Lil Wayne art.
Right.
And I'm like, no, I'm doing mine, so you gotta take what I give you.
Yeah.
I'll give you 100% of performing it,
Right.
but in making it,
Yeah.
I don't need nobody to tell me how to make it. So that's the same way you have to do with your
Yeah.
music.
Yeah.
You don't make your music for somebody else, you make your music for
I
you.
make it for me.
So what about the culture? Do you make art for the culture? And I know, because I know you introduced
No,
your
you don't
culture
make art
out.
for the culture. You are the culture.
You are the culture.
You don't make art.
Yeah.
You are the culture. We are the culture. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? The culture is the culture. That's why when they talk about cancel culture, there's no such thing as cancel culture because you can't cancel culture,
Right. That's a fact.
right?
So how
Cancel culture can't cancel culture.
that's real.
Like that.
But tell me this, how did you hook up with Hank in the Bomb Squad?
We all from Roosevelt.
Y'all all grew up, that was your partners. Y'all all
We all from Roosevelt. I was, you know, and understand this is like all of us had a say so in how the music go, and all of us have a say so in how the words in the music and words.
So how was that for you, the evolution of technology? Because I was born in '91, and it was right before the internet. Because I remember AOL and the dial-up and the weird noises. But y'all had the phones inside the cars that was like this big.
After,
And,
I mean,
you know,
listen, that was after. Wait. That was after having no phone. You know what I'm
Right,
saying? So
right.
that phone could have been as big as that carriage over there.
Yeah.
And you would have put it in the phone if it's a one phone. So
Right.
that was an evolution to itself. So the great Prince he told me, you'll be on top of technology or it's gonna be on top of you.
Facts.
Now here's another thing. This is a challenge to all y'all. Artificial intelligence is not gonna get any dumber or any slower.
Oh, yeah.
Already in the last 8 to 9 months, ChatGPT has flipped everything upside down.
Have you used it?
Yeah, I'm gonna make sure I use it.
It's amazing.
And it not use me or it be a crutch. You gotta go into these devices
Yeah.
and figure out how you dance with it. Not to say you're gonna run away from it, because when it comes down to like, oh wow, I did it, say, okay, did you do it or did somebody else do it?
Right.
Then how do you defeat at this moment?
Yeah.
Really, it ain't a long-term question and answer. How do you defeat AI as
Yeah.
far as an artist?
Programming, you have to be the one that knows how to create prompts, because it's only as smart as the prompts that you give it. And if you don't know what to ask and how to, you got to be a person that knows how to create a
But
prompt.
as an artist, what gives you the license to ill, as we used to say, is your ability to make a mistake. Your mistake is your saving grace.
Wow.
Because artificial intelligence is not set up to make mistakes.
Yeah.
It's set up to seriously like be perfect and come back from perfection.
Right.
You can start off and say, you know what, man, I'm in the car, I'm gonna go left, right, or whatever based on how I feel. Artificial intelligence is gonna be like, boom, we're gonna nail it how it should be till nobody could catch up with this.
Yeah.
And so in a minute, it's like, where's your humanity? Your humanity is reflected in the crudeness of of your flow. I mean, it's like dancing. I mean, you're gonna dance with 4 count, or you're gonna dance with, well, see, everybody don't, your generation don't even dance no more.
I know, 8 count. We just took some salsa classes.
You know what I'm saying? Or you gonna dance with a flow?
Yeah.
You know, do you got like this in you, or it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, you know, like it's like,
It's almost like using your soul versus using math or technology.
How
When you
you
move
sell-
out of your soul.
well, how you sell soul to
Organic.
people, you know, how you sell soul to a soulless people who might have sold their soul.
Ooh, can you say that one more time?
How do you sell soul to a soulless people who might have sold their soul?
Wow.
You gotta give it away.
Yeah.
Can't sell it. Can't sell soul. You gotta give people back their souls.
Yeah.
Artificial intelligence and the machinery out there right now. And these are this is what I teach more than anything else. It's like, how do you keep yourself?
Yeah.
How do you even know yourself and know yourself to the point that you know everything out there is out to grab yourself?
Right.
You know, you heard the old saying, like, people have lost their mind. You know, they lose their mind, you voluntarily giving it away.
Yeah.
But the problem is with artificial intelligence, you giving it away only to clamor for it to buy it back from somewhere else.
Yeah.
Artists are going to be the only ones that break the slavery of technology, gadgets, computers, and where everybody is at. It's a hard thing to break. People need. If I took everybody's phone and threw it up against the wall and smashed, that's a piece of art, right? Me smashing phones.
Performance
But
art.
Yeah, and what's also performance art is the anger in the room.
Yeah.
What the, you know what I'm saying? The
Yeah.
anger is the performance art. It's like, I can't believe this dude like took my phone out
Right.
of my pocket and smashed it against the nerve of this, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
The anger off of our gadgets now is even more than they're not some people's pets, if they got pets.
Because the value we put into it. So what should we put our value into? Because I know
Am I talking to an average, everyday person, or am I talking to an artist?
artist. Because I can say
Put your
most
value
of us
into
in this
yourself.
room are artists.
Put yourself, you better put your value into yourself, because everybody around you is going to be looking for themselves.
To wrap it up, what's your advice to the young up-and-coming artists that's watching right now, musicians and producers, as well as visual artists? What advice do you want to give them to wrap up the interview?
Be you. You want to learn art before you do art.
That's a bar.
You want to learn art before you do art, because when you learn art, you're learning that this goes back centuries.
Right.
You can't be like, now I got to start from me. Yeah, you alive now, working with your world and stuff like that. But when you study art and the artists, it lines you up. It lets you know the realities. It knows you know the can'ts, do's, and don't. Now, if you want to join art with industry, that's a whole nother thing.
Right.
And commerce and how do I eat off of this and all that other stuff has got to be something with your whole dynamic of how you see the world.
Yeah.
One thing I would tell artists, especially graphic artists and illustrators, I'm not a painter, I'm an illustrator.
That's insane.
I can paint. My whole thing, what I worked on, speed.
Speed.
I wanted to work on my speed like a courtroom illustrator. You know,
yeah.
like courtroom, like boom, back in the day,
Yeah.
before you could email, you had to like go there, sit in the courtroom, pop, 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 and then run out of there to the news station and get it there in time.
Wow.
So you had to do a full room illustration in a matter of minutes. Almost like in like what they used to do back in the day when they had malls.
Yeah.
And the cat be doing and also giving you the chicken on the toothpick.
Catch the faces at the
Yeah,
same time.
boom, 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 boom.
Yeah.
Speed, you know, so I work on speed. That's my attribute is that
Yeah.
I can, as the illustration. And then illustration for me is like, how do I get to an image with the least lines possible?
Right.
That's why Al Hirschfeld, you ever see Al Hirschfeld's work?
Not
He's
yet.
like, he's
I'm gonna look him
the one that would do the plays back in New York, the plays, theater.
Yeah.
And he would just do like 4 lines, like whoop, whoop, whoop. And they're
Right.
like, damn, that's it.
That's a big part of Frank's work too.
Yeah, Frank's part is getting across with the least amount of lines possible.
Right.
You know, but that's a style. That's a technique mixed with style.
Right.
And just to end on this note, I had stopped art for. I had started graphic art illustration for 30 years.
Right.
25, I went into my recording career. Now I would do art direction. I would train artists. Then computers came in.
Yeah.
And then
That
I
changed.
had to become computer literate, but I would guide people with their computers, but I never really worked it, because I had to like train myself on the
Yeah.
computer, but I never really like, all right, yeah, I toyed with it a little bit. My dad passed in 2016, and I did ayahuasca too.
That's good.
But I didn't do ayahuasca like, let me do art. I did ayahuasca just to figure out where his spirit was at.
Right.
It answered my questions. My first time I did it 2 times. 2017, it answered my question
Wow.
of where I thought he was, because I ain't gonna follow, oh yeah, he's in a better place.
Yeah.
Somebody give me a religion
Mystery.
thing. I'm like, I don't even deal with that. After I did that, and then my shaman said, you know, she's a black lady out of Philly who always go down to Peru. He said, well, you got the ability anyway to ascend into yourself or elevate. You pregnant with ideas anyway. He said, you normally do that anyway. I'm like, well, here she meet me for the first time. And she's like, well, really, you already go down to yourself, because she didn't find scar tissue or none of that.
Right.
So I'm like, oh yeah. I kind of like, if I want to go into myself, I elevate easy.
Yeah.
But some people can't get into themselves, and it might be scar tissue. They can't get past themselves into themselves.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was that year, and then the next year came around. My Pilates coach, she was part of a community, and she said, well, why don't you be part of the community? I said, nah, I did it last year. I got my answer. What all? She said, well, come on by, and boom, 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 it's a community.
Yeah.
So I wasn't interested in joining the community. I did it already. Cool. This time around, I sat in the living room, and I said, you know what? Give me a ream of paper. So she gave me like a ream of paper.
Right.
And gave me markers. I said, give me some markers. And I sat in the one part of the living room,
Yeah.
and then the spiritual thing was dealt with. You actually administered, and all you go through the shaman and all that.
Yeah.
And I did 70 illustrations in 4 hours.
Man, just a
And-
paper.
but I wasn't even looking at the paper.
Right.
And it would almost look like Frank's work right there.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because it went from the inside out.
Right.
And formed the exterior. And I was like, oh, so that kind of like, from that point, I've done 25 illustrations since then. 25,000.
Wow.
I know, right?
I always thought it was
25,000.
fascinating.
Yeah, I mean, it's like I'm 2 art beings. One is the Chuck art, the other is
Visual artist.
my anonymous whatever. That's
Yeah.
another place. So.
That's amazing, man.
I know. So it's a story that also has created like 9 books. I mean, it's great. It's just nonstop. So when you ask the question, like when do you do it? It's like almost like when do you not do it?
Right.
This is brought to you by Africana Art.